Hey, you guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me on Living Your Best Life. It's me, Coach Adamir. And so the season is changing here in SoCal. Go figure. It's changing on the calendar, but haven't really noticed a difference as far as the temperature. You know what I'm talking about if you live out here, right? 60 degrees in the morning, 100 in degrees, 100 in degrees, 100 degrees in the afternoon. But I've been waking up in the mornings, obviously realizing it's cold, and then it gets hot during the day. So I've also noticed people getting sick. I've had a few clients get sick, I've had a few friends get sick, and it got me thinking probably a good time to talk about our immune health and ways we can optimize it for this coming cold season. So, if you're someone who's prone to getting sick, pay attention, do as much as you can from this list. Hopefully, it prevents you from getting sick, or if you do end up getting sick, hopefully, it shortens your sickness. And if you aren't someone who gets sick very often, such as myself, no, I'm not bragging, don't hate, then just keep up whatever you're doing, right? And if you hear anything new, if you're like, oh, that sounds like something I should do, add it to your routine. It's not going to hurt. All right. So if you hear something that's just brand new, please, I suggest add it, and your chances of getting sick are going to go way down. So let's jump into, I guess I'll call it the facts, quote unquote. But listen, it doesn't matter who you are. All right. There's no way of controlling whether you get sick with a cold, with the flu, or even COVID. Again, not me, right? But anyways, there's so much going on inside of our bodies that are going to determine our body's response. And while we can control factors like nutrient deficiencies and the food that we put into our bodies, other factors are out of our control, such as our age and our exposure to certain pathogens. We can't control what we get exposed to. But fortunately for us, our actions can improve our immune system's ability to fight off those pathogens and those viruses. So there's a lot of healthy behaviors that can reduce our exposure and our susceptibility. It's going to optimize our immune function over time, and then it's going to better prepare our body to fight off those foreign invaders, those foreign pathogens. And an added benefit to focusing on these behaviors is that we end up feeling like we are in control. And so that's going to help reduce our stress and anxiety, because if we know that we're doing the best we can to not get sick, then it kind of lightens the load on our shoulders, and it should lessen the worry about getting sick, because you're doing the most you can to protect yourself. So I'm going to go over probably a lot, I'd say, today, but you can always pause and come back if you need to. So I'm going to go over the best suggestions for a healthy lifestyle that's going to lay a solid foundation for your immune health. And this isn't just for your immune health, right? This is going to be for your overall health. If your overall health is 100%, then your immune health is going to be 100%. So first, you've heard me say this so many times if you've listened to my podcast or if you've talked to me in person. Eat mostly minimally processed whole foods. Get enough protein, fruits, and vegetables. So all those foods that are in its whole form are going to have the most nutrients available for you, and is the best type of fuel for your body to use to protect you from any viruses or infections. Along with consuming whole foods, make sure you're consuming the appropriate number of calories. Right? So if you don't know what your number is for either your goals or your body type, you can go online. There's plenty of tools you can look for, or you can just ask me. I will help you. Fourth thing you want to do, move regularly. So if you follow me on Instagram, throughout the week, I'll remind people to get out and just move. Right? We don't I go to the gym. I lift weights, I exercise, I do stuff like that. I enjoy it. A lot of people don't. If you don't enjoy going to the gym, that's fine. Don't go to the gym. But get outside and take a walk. Right? After lunch, take a 30-minute walk. After dinner, take a 30-minute walk. On your break at work, take a 15-minute walk around the building. Right? Just get some movement. If you want to sit in front of the TV and not miss your show, then sit in front of the TV, but go through like a little stretch routine, 20 minutes. Move your body. All right? It doesn't matter what you do, get out and move. It's going to increase your chances of fighting off any sickness. All right, the fifth one here, guys, reduce smoking and excessive alcohol consumption. Those are two big immune defense droppers, right? They're going to bring your immune system way down. So try to minimize that as much as possible. When I say reduce smoking, I really mean quit smoking. But, that's, again, a whole nother topic. Can't tell you what to do, but just bring your smoking down and bring your alcohol consumption down. Sixth one, what is that, 6? I didn't number these. Get adequate sleep. All right, you need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep for your body to fully restore itself. If you feel like that's still not enough, carve out some time during the day to take a 20 to 30-minute nap. That's going to help. It's a tremendous amount of help, and you'll definitely notice a difference, especially in your mental clarity. You'll feel a little more re-energized. And then the last one, manage your stress as much as you can. Okay, I'll go over some best practices to manage that, but for now, think about managing your stress. So on this part, I want to go over a couple of things that will determine your chances of getting sick. So your risk of viral or bacterial infection depends on all these factors, and all these factors are kind of interwoven with each other, so they all have a little bit to do with each other. So we want to make sure that all 8 of these are, whatever's in our control, are in alignment. All right, so the first one is pathogen exposure. Right, that's the transmission of a pathogen through human contact, air droplets, food, or contaminated surfaces. So in our everyday life, we have pathogen exposure. Now, our pathogenicity, that's the ability of a given pathogen to cause disease. So all those pathogens we're exposed to, they have what's called pathogenicity, and that's the ability for it to get us sick. All right, so we have exposure pretty much 24/7 in our life. So what we rely on is our second one here, which is our innate immunity. Now we have 3 levels of protection. The first one is our physical barriers. And that's, as an example, is your mucus lining in your nasal passages. So when you breathe, a lot of that dust and dirt, debris gets trapped in your mucus lining, so it doesn't enter our system. If it does enter our system, we have our second level of protection, which are our chemical barriers. And that's, an example is your stomach acids. So if you consume something that gets into your stomach and there's a little bit, not a little bit, but there's a pathogen in there, then ideally our stomach acid will kill that pathogen and not allow it to go further into our digestive tract. Now, if a pathogen has passed those 2 barriers, then we have our last line of defense, our protective cells, and those are our white blood cells. All right, and what these do, basically just fight off infection with what's called adaptive immunity. And that's our third one here. Adaptive immunity is our body's ability to fight infection based on past infection, right? So if you've had the flu before, as an example, your white blood cells will remember how to fight the flu if it comes back into your body. And this is from our T cells. Our T cells exist in our bone marrow, and these basically kind of remember, they have like a memory gene, and they remember how to fight a previous infection. So our T cells are super important. Our fourth one here, we talked about it earlier, is stress. A heavy stress load is going to lead to too much cortisol. And that's a stress hormone in our body that can make you more susceptible. So cortisol is basically, think of your fight or flight response. If your body is always at that heightened fight or flight, it's not going to allow the immune system to function at its optimal levels. And along with stress, a lot of us end up with coping mechanisms for stress. We eat junk food. Um, we may drink to cope with it. We may smoke. We may binge on TV, which is not good for our mental health either. So all that can add to your stress load. So we got to be mindful of those things. The fifth one here is our age. So our age is a huge contributing factor. The good thing is that as we get older, especially from our youth, like elementary school, junior high, as we get older, that means more adaptive immunity. So we've been exposed to more and more pathogens throughout our lives. So our immune system has built up a defense along those years against those pathogens. So as we get older, we get stronger immune system. The flip side of that, as we get much older, around age 70, our white blood cell function can decrease and fewer antibodies are produced in our body. So once we get to that age, we got to be way more careful about our immune health and pay more attention to how we're contributing to that. The sixth factor here, this one we do have control over. This is our body composition. Having too much or too little body fat can and will interfere with certain compounds and sex hormones that affect your immunity. All right, so like body composition related health conditions, obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, those are going to increase your risk of infection and complications. So over the last few years, we've heard a lot of complications with COVID from people that had these exact underlying health conditions I just said, right? It increased their risk. It also increased their length of being sick and even complications during that time. And that happens all the time. It happened with the flu. It happens with pneumonia. It happens with anything. If your body's already under a lot of stress from another condition, adding the flu or a cold or COVID is not going to make things much better. Definitely going to add to the complexity of your infection. The seventh one here is your lifestyle. So nutrient deficiencies are going to lower our immune function by hindering the white blood cell performance. So if we're not eating the proper foods, we're going to lower our immune function. If we're not exercising, we're going to lower our T cell count. Right? Exercise has been shown to support immunity by increasing T cells and your natural killer cells. Remember, we talked about those T cells, our memory cells. If we have more of those T cells, we're going to have a better chance of fighting off infection. Along with exercise, get plenty of rest. We talked about sleep. Lack of high quality sleep is going to lower your body's defenses. If you're not sleeping enough, your body's not restoring itself and repairing itself for the next day. All right. And then our environment has a huge impact on our exposure as well. If you live in a densely populated area, that's going to increase your exposure to germs. Although that might mean you also may build up more resistance to them. All right. So it's a twofold something there. I don't know. Help me out. You guys can probably figure that out. And then also your climate has a variable effect on your exposure and your risk, right? So we all know that some viruses and disease or pathogens can survive better in warmer climates than cold climates or vice versa. So depending on where you live, you have different things you need to be weary of. All right. And then the last one, you guys, is your overall health status. If you have immunodeficiency disorders, that's going to limit your immune response. If you have chronic inflammation, which is your immune system in overdrive, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, that's your body in overdrive with chronic inflammation. That's going to weaken your immune system's ability to fight infection. It's tired, right? It's just going to oh, flu, come on in. You just, settle here. I'm dealing with this. I'll deal with you later. Right? It's not that simple, of course, but that's the best example. The next one is your gut health. Your GI tract, which is your your digestive tract, it houses over 70% of your immunity. So think about what I mentioned earlier, eating whole, nutritious food. If we're putting whole, nutritious food into our stomach, which is 70% of our immunity, then we're going to have a healthier gut. We're going to have better chances of warding off those bugs. All right, probiotics are also very beneficial. If you haven't heard of those, look into those. They're very good to keeping a healthy gut in your body. All right, and then prescription drugs. If you are on prescription drugs that treat autoimmune conditions, those work by suppressing your immune response. So make sure you're increasing other ways to build up your immunity. All right. And then also if you're, I don't even know how to mention this, but substance abuse can also hinder your immunity by damaging your vital organs. All right. So there are 8 immune supporting habits that I want to talk about to help you in preventing you from, or hopefully preventing you from getting sick. So again, I'm going to go maybe on a rant. No, I won't, I promise. But focus on whole foods, key nutrients. All right. So to avoid any nutrient deficiencies, you want to eat plenty of whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, protein, healthy fats, right? Avocados, nuts, seeds, potatoes, rice. Those are still good for you because they have good nutrition. And again, moderation. Again, know your calories, know what you need to be eating. Don't go over it. Okay. Next thing, there are certain nutrients that you need to be more conscious of to strengthen your white blood cells' ability to fight any infection, right? So there's 5 of them here. These are the 5 that are going to contribute directly to white blood cell function. First one is protein. These are the building block of your antibodies. People who are protein deficient are more susceptible to infectious disease. So if you don't want to be protein deficient, aim for a serving of protein with every meal and even every snack. All right. And if you want an exact number, I recommend 1 gram of protein per pound of your target body weight. So right now, my target body weight is 185 pounds, which means I need to shoot for 185 grams of protein every day. Now that sounds like a lot, and maybe it is if you're used to only consuming 100, which on average, most people consume about 100 or 80 to 100 grams of protein a day. We don't get enough protein, all right? So that's the first thing you need to do to help you fight infection. Second one is vitamin C. We've all heard of vitamin C. Orange juice is the best source, or oranges in general. I would recommend eating the oranges versus drinking the orange juice. But vitamin C is needed to prevent and fight infections. Aim for 1 to 2 servings a day. So 1 to 2 oranges. Vitamin D. This is going to help protect against your respiratory tract infections. The best way to get vitamin D, get some sun. If you live in a climate that doesn't get enough sun, get a liquid supplement. All right. So easiest way to get some sun, if you're able to, when you're up in the morning and you're not at work yet, or you're on your way to work, stand outside for 10-15 minutes. Let the sun hit your face. Just sit there nice and warm. Let your body warm up. You'll absorb some vitamin D. Throughout the rest of the day, go outside, take a walk. You're doing 2 things here. You're getting vitamin D. You're also getting some movement in. Fourth thing you got to be conscious of is your zinc intake. This is a direct support of your T cells. And if you're looking for whole food sources, whole grains are the best one. Oysters and scallops are also really good for zinc. But if you're already sick or you don't consume those types of foods, then take a supplement. That's the easiest way. And then the last one, omega-3 fatty acids. These help reduce inflammation and they help white blood cells basically just do their job. If you eat plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, you can get that from chia seeds, walnuts, and flax seeds. And if you don't have any problem with animal products, oily fish or a supplement is a great option as well. Second thing here, you guys, achieve and maintain a healthy body fat level. All right, a lot of these things we touched on earlier. I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail, basically. So basically, just control your portions at every meal: protein, veggies, and carbs, and healthy fat. If you need a number, women, you want to aim for 16 to 25% body fat, and then men, I'd say aim for 12 to 20%. All right, just to be in that healthy range. When we talk about gut health, you're going to want to eat foods with pre and probiotics. So bananas, yogurt, kimchi, basically any other fermented type of foods are really good for your gut, and it's going to boost that good gut bacteria in your stomach. And if you're still struggling with gut issues, then I don't want to say easiest, but the only other way is to try what's called an elimination diet to detect food intolerances. So you basically have to cut out certain types of foods and see how your body reacts over time. So it's a little more time consuming. There are tests now, I believe, that you can, it's like a blood test. You send it into a lab and they'll send back your food like sensitivities. All right. And then supplement if you need. We talked about movement, you guys. Exercise has long-term health protective benefits. It also has good mental health benefits. It's a great way to reduce stress, and it's going to enhance your immunity. All right, so make time for a workout at the gym, at home, a walk, take a hike, go for a swim, go play with your kids, go play basketball, do something, right? Go play kickball. I don't know. Just get out and move. And then we talked about moderating your alcohol intake. Now, there's no clear direct studies as to how alcohol actually affects our immunity directly, but there's plenty of evidence as to how heavy drinking can jeopardize our general health. All right, so keep drinking, very light to moderate. For women, 7 drinks per week. For men, max 14 drinks per week. That's 2 a day. I don't even recommend that. I would say limit it to the weekends and like 1 to 2. Okay, that's just me. 6, sleep well. So 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Get quality sleep though. And the best way to do that, eliminate your distractions before bed and give yourself like a nightly routine to wind down. Right? If once you give yourself a nightly routine and you start that nightly routine, your brain triggers something and starts to go into that shutdown mode. It says, oh, it's time to get ready for bed because I've been doing this and I turn this into a routine. So turn off your electronics 30 minutes before bed. Now, when I say turn off electronics, I don't obviously mean turn it off and put it away. Most of us need our phones for alarms. So just put it away, right? Put it on do not disturb, put it on the charger, grab a book, grab a journal, sit with your spouse, sit with your kids, talk to them before, do something that has nothing to do with your phone, your TV, your laptop, or anything before bed, or your tablet. I know some of you will be like, oh, he didn't say tablet, I'm gonna use my tablet. Turn off, put away your electronics. You can clear your mind with reading, like I said. You can meditate, you can journal, sit in silence, whatever works for you. Stick to a reasonable bedtime. Also, if you're going to make a routine for yourself, it can't start at 9 on Monday, 9:45 on Tuesday, 10:30 on Wednesday, 8:30 on Thursday. Go to bed at the same time every night. Your body craves routine. If you know me, if you've seen me around 9:30, I'm like already half asleep. 10:30, that's pushing it. But just put yourself to bed at a reasonable time at the same time. And then make your room as dark and as cool as possible. We all know how uncomfortable it is to sleep when it's hot. So turn a fan on, turn the air on, get some blackout curtains, whatever. Put one of those, dang, I don't even know what they're called, but a sleeping eye cover thing. What is it? Why don't I know what it's called? Whatever. Anyways. 7, balance your stress load. All right. It's unrealistic to eliminate stress completely. So just find ways to balance it out with uplifting activities. Meditate, take a walk, spend time with your friends and family, Do something that you enjoy that's going to eliminate your stress. And then number 8 on here, guys, the last one, practice good hygiene. We probably learned all over again how to wash our hands thoroughly, but just wash your hands after handling things that may be contaminated. If you work in public areas, and disinfect frequently those places that are touched often, like doors, handles, desks, anything, right? Your phone, your laptop, your keyboard, wipe it down. If you go to the gym, clean off workout equipment after you use it, please. If you go to the store, shopping carts, baskets, things like that. And then practice food safety as well. Once you're done in your cooking area, make sure or before you start, make sure you sanitize the area, clean it. Don't put, raw meat on the cutting board and then cut vegetables right after, right? Make sure you wash it off, clean it, disinfect, and then put another type of food on there, but don't mix and contaminate. And then cook your foods at proper temperature and then put it away when you're done. Don't leave it out. Some food can go bad, especially after cooking. So put it back in the fridge and don't leave it in there for too long either. Eat it within a few days. Don't wait 2 weeks or else that'll go bad. All right, you guys. So you've heard a lot about what to do to prevent getting sick. You're like, Coach, I'm already sick, dude. What do I do now? So what can you do when you get sick? First, focus on your nutrition. Again, I'm going to harp on eating good, whole, nutritious food, right? Even when you're sick, your body's trying to repair. So give it what it needs. First, drink lots of fluids. If you're having respiratory issues with your sickness, focus on hot beverages. That's going to help break up mucus in the lungs. And if you're drinking hot tea, add lemon juice for that vitamin C. Add some honey. That'll help as well for the sweetness, give you something nice to drink. All right. Honey also helps with your immune health. If you're able to, while you're sick, I know a lot of us don't really have much of an appetite when we're sick. Continue to consume those immune supporting foods, protein, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, omega-3s. All right. And if you don't feel like eating, then have a smoothie or a shake with those supplements. All right. At least drink something that'll get your fluids in and that'll get some nutrition. Second thing you can do, you can exercise. All right. So first things first, you can do low or moderate intensity exercise if your symptoms are limited to a sore throat, coughing, or a runny or congested nose. So you can go outside for a walk, maybe do like body weight work, push-ups, sit-ups, some body weight squats, simple things, right? Don't go crazy. And if you have a fever, elevated heart rate, you're fatigued or you feel weak, you're vomiting, you feel nauseous, or you have diarrhea, your muscles hurt, joints hurt, or anything above your neck is getting worse, like your headache is getting worse, your congestion is getting worse, don't exercise. Your body's not ready, okay? And if you do choose to exercise with the first symptoms, sore throat, coughing, runny nose, not the last ones I just listed, please don't. If you do choose, stay at home, right? Don't go to the gym and exercise. I know like towards the end of a sickness, you feel, oh, I'm not contagious anymore. Sure, you may not be, but why risk it? And why go put other people's immune health at risk? Don't be that person, please. I always tell my clients, if you feel sick, just stay home. We can miss a week. It's okay. All right. You're going to stress yourself out by thinking that missing a week is so terrible. Then you're going to stay sick. All right. And then low intensity activities, walking, light jog, maybe an easy hike, or even yoga at home. Again, at home. And then keep it to less than an hour. 30 to 45 minutes should be more than enough. All right. And then once you start feeling better, get back into your normal routine. All right. So what can we focus on, right? All this information, but we need to focus on a couple of things. Our brain can't just focus on everything all at once. All right. So to prioritize your immunity and your sanity, it's smart to optimize how you spend your time and energy. All right. So focus in on the areas where you have control and you can make a real impact. So 1, total control. This is what we have total control over. Our priorities, our mindset, our actions, and our effort. All right. So those are the things that we can control. If our priorities are to stay healthy and do the things that Coach Adamir just listed here, then my mindset is to focus on those priorities. And my mindset is that I will stay healthy if I do these things, which is my actions. All right. So take action and put your best effort with all these actions. The second thing, this is what we have some control over. All right, we have some control over our schedule. I know we may think we have control over our schedule because we know that we go to work at certain times, but we also get pulled left to right with different tasks from different coworkers. All right, our health routine, again, we have some control over that. Our home environment, it doesn't matter that, you know, you're the only one at home, maybe. Your home environment is going to have some effect on how you go through these actions. All right. And then you also have some control over your support team, right? You may choose people to help to support you, but they may not always be there, or they may not always have the best advice or the best type of support, right? So we don't always have control over these things. And then the last thing, this may give some of you anxiety, but these are the things we have absolutely zero control over. And when we realize that we have zero control over these things, our lives become much better and our mental health takes a break, and it'll help us stay healthy, right? No control over the politics and world events around us. Now, we can stay educated and stay well informed on what's going on, but we can't let it affect how we feel throughout the day, right? It's unfortunate with a lot of crap that's going on in the world, but we also unfortunately can't focus on it every moment of our day. So you have no control over that. You have no control what's put on the news cycle. So limit how much news you're watching. Personally, I don't watch the news. If there's something catastrophic that's happened, I'm sure I'll hear about it, right? And if there's something that's going on in my state or in my county, I know I'll hear about it, right? It's directly affecting me. But I curate the news that I put in front of me. I don't just scroll through news outlets and like Instagram and, oh, that looks, no, just what do I need to know? Cool, I'm done. Move on. All right. And then the last thing we can't control, even though many of us probably wish we could, other people's thoughts and other people's actions. We can't let what other people do or say or feel affect how we feel, right? That puts too much control in another person's hands. You are giving up way too much control when you let other people's actions affect how you feel and how you respond. So focus on the things you have total control over. Don't worry so much about the things you have some control over. And you can't worry at all about the things that you can't control. So, as you can see or hear, because you can't see, speaking of see, I will be doing podcast videos or video podcasts soon. Anyways, as you can take from this episode, much of staying healthy and having a strong immune system is really up to us. All right, if we practice an overall healthy lifestyle, then we can decrease our risk of getting sick every day. And while it may be impossible to never ever get sick again, the chances of that sickness when we do get sick being as severe or as lengthy aren't as high. Right? We won't have to deal with it as long because our body's like, "Hey, I've dealt with this before. I got your back. Let me get rid of this." So eat whole nutritious foods, get plenty of sleep, exercise, and minimize stress in your life as much as you possibly can. That's going to be the formula for a strong and healthy immune system. All right, you guys, thanks for listening. If you haven't already, find me on Instagram at Coach Adamir. You can check my page. I'll be posting workouts weekly. I'll be posting nutritional advice and motivational tips as well in my story. Plenty of comedy there because I do some goofy stuff sometimes. A lot of it inadvertently. But anyways, I will talk to you all next time. So remember, you guys, have a great week. Love yourself and go be the best version of yourself. Bye.